Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. Today it's Fountain Pen Focus Day and we're going to focus on this. This is the PenBBS 308. This is in the Mojito colour. Hopefully I pronounced that right. Lovely green, nice transparent colour. Join me now down on the mat. We'll take a look at the pen, walk through the body, do some size comparisons, some weights and measures, a writing sample. Then I'll give you my thoughts and some stores for this pen. Welcome down to the table. Here we've got the PenBBS 308. This gorgeous pale green colour, transparent. Nice to see through so you can see all the workings. I quite enjoy that. Let's start off by taking a walk through the body. We'll start at the top. I mean, it's an all plastic pen. The top, we've got a dome. Looks like it's just screwed on. The dome tapers out quickly, then starts to get a little bit shallower till we come to this silver coloured clip. The clip there got a slight concaveness to it. Is it springy? Let's see. Yeah, it's fairly springy. Just look at that. That's nice. This does fit well in a pocket or in my pen cases. The cap, we're coming out there, so we're tapering out till we get about 3/4 of the way down the clip. Then it seems to go to be the same width. If we look through this, we've got a two colour system. Let me just unscrew the pen. So at the top, not sure if you can see inside there, there's a little tiny lip about halfway down. And then when you put the pen in, screw it in, the bottom of the section, that butts up against that, so it gives you a little bit of an it gives you a little bit of an airtight seal down here. Nice green colour. I like to be able to see through. It's nice to see the nib. At the bottom of the cap, we've got this silver coloured ring, PenBBS. A little bit of a pattern. Then here, this is where we get something weird. I'm going to try and fetch this up to the camera and hope I can get it into focus. Its number looks like 266 to me, but that's not what the model is. The model's a 308. So I think what this was an older model that they've slightly redesigned, but they're still using the same printing for that band. And this is the same on my other PenBBS 308, so I think it's a common thing. At the bottom of that disc, there's a tapering down. Then we've got a noticeable step down, not too bad because of the way that this ring is tapering down into the body. The body, again, translucent. We can see there the converter inside. Same width until we get down, I want to say about 3/4 of the way. Then we start to taper in. And again, we've got this domed, solid plastic end. All in all, quite a simple looking but an effective looking pen. The cap comes off in, there's half, 1, 1.5, just under 2 turns to take the cap off. That reveals the section, which is in this same colour material, and then we go into the nib. So the nib, it's a steel nib, steel coloured. It's, to be honest, more or less a standard type of PenBBS nib. So we've got some nice decorative border around it. Below the breather hole, we've got pen, then below that, BBS. Then we've got since and 2005. Below that, we've got F, it's a fine nib. And then below that, we've got China. And it's nice, tells you everything you need to know. Let's swap on over and we'll do some size comparisons. First up for size comparisons, my two standards, Pilot Metropolitan, Lamy Safari. So that PenBBS 308, just ever so slightly longer than both of these. Let's take off the caps. Unposted, story changes a little bit now. Yes, it's a little bit longer than the Metropolitan, but it's about the same size as the Safari. In the hand, it's quite nice. The section looks a little bit on the thin side. Doesn't feel it when I'm writing. You know it's thin, but it's not too bad. At the bottom of the section where we've got this lip. But unposted, that fits very nicely into my hand. Posted. Let's just post it, see if it does post. Posted adds quite a bit of length. You've got talking about half the cap extra in length. The cap's fairly light, so you don't really notice the weight too much. Let's take a look at all the pens posted. Here we've got all 3 pens posted. Now we've got a definite story. We've got the small Pilot Metropolitan. In the middle is the PenBBS 308, and just that teeniest little bit longer, we're talking 1 or 2 millimeters, is the Lamy Safari. Let's swap over and fetch some pens in that are in roughly the same price range. The pens I brought in, I've got a Moonman or Marjon T5, that was 27 Aussie dollars. The PenBBS 308, 28 Aussie dollars. And then I've got a Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling, that was 30 Aussie dollars. So 2 Chinese pens, 1 Indian pen. Size wise, well, the 308 posted is the shortest of the lot. The T5 doesn't post overly well. Let's take a look at them unposted. Unposted, all 3 pens, I've got to be honest, to my eye, I can't see much in the way of difference lengthwise. The sections, though, are wider on both the other pens. One thing to note here are the nibs. The nibs, all number 6 size nibs. Now, I haven't tried changing a nib, but I'm guessing it would be fairly easy to do that. Before I put the cap on, one thing we will look at, the Marjon, that's a piston filling pen. The Fountain Pen Revolution Darjeeling, that one is a cartridge converter. The PenBBS is a cartridge converter, but all the fittings seem to be plastic. I can't see any holes in this, in the body. We've got an O-ring there at the top of the threads, then we've got loads of different threads. So I'm guessing that this may be a pen that's possibly one you may want to eyedropper. I can't 100% say that because I haven't tried it, but it certainly looks like that to me. Let's pop the caps on these. With the caps on, the PenBBS, again we're only talking millimeters, but slightly longer than the T5. Fountain Pen Revolution, definitely noticeably shorter. Let's swap on over and we'll fetch in the rule of measuring. Here's the rule of measuring, fetching the pen. So with the cap on, this comes in at 14.3 centimeters. Uncapped, 12.9 centimeters. Posted, see if I can get that to sit still and line it up, 16.3 centimeters. The width of the body at its widest point, which is about here, that's 1.3 centimeters. The width of the cap, again at the widest point, just above that metal ring, 1.5 centimeters. The section goes from 0.97 up to 1.13 centimeters. Let's swap over and fetch in the scales of weighing. Here's the scales of weighing. The full pen, 21 grams, not overly heavy. The body, this has got, I would say, a 3/4 full of ink at the moment, 13 grams. Cap, 9 grams. Isn't a heavy pen, but it's there. You can feel it. It disappears into your hand when you're writing because it's so light, but you do know it's there. Let's swap on over and fetch in the notepad of testing. Here we've got the notepad of testing. I use paper, 100 GSM paper. It's made in India. The paper itself has got a little bit of a texture to it. I really like it. It's a slightly cream coloured paper as well. So let's do some writing. So we're going to write with a PenBBS 308. That's got a fine nib. And as I said, 28 Aussie dollars. The ink is by Cult Pens, actually made for them by Diamine. And it's deep, dark, green. I love the name of this ink. And to be honest, it's an ink, I don't really use it often enough. You know, you can certainly see it's a green when I put this up against it. Drying times. So we go immediate. 10 seconds. 30 seconds. 1 minute. Still smudging quite a bit. Let's do a 2-minute test. Two minutes, yep, that's now dry. Let's move the mic down to the page and write a sentence. I like that. That's got a slightest tint of feedback. It feels really nice. Is there any line variation? So this is no pressure. Now I'm going to add pressure. So we are getting a slightly wider line, but it feels as if I'm dragging the pen over the paper then. There's no pressure. With, none, and with. All in all, quite nice. Flow test. Then reversing that. Goes quite well. No issues with flow. I haven't really had any flow issues when I've been doing my normal writing. I like the colour of the ink. It comes out really nicely on here. It's a standard ink. There's no shimmer. There's no sheen. Not seeing overly much in the way of shading. Didn't expect to. It's still quite enjoyable. You can see as it's dry now. I've got this gorgeous green colour, and you can see why it's called. It's a deep dark green, quite pretty. So what are my thoughts and my scores for this pen? We'll start with PenLux. I love the look of this pen. I love the colour. I love the transparent nature. I love being able to see the nib. I love being able to see the converter, and although you can't really see the ink flowing too much, you can see it a little bit. If I ever decide to eyedropper this, it'll look really nice to see that ink in there and just see that sloshing around. It's not too bad, I'd say quite pretty. The shape, yeah, quite a classic shape. So for PenLux, I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. Build quality. Again, no issues with this. I've got 2 of these and I've had them now well over 2 years each. Each one's been used multiple times. I take them out, they write. When I was recording this video, the start of it when I was showing you it, it was being capped and uncapped. It took me about 15 minutes to do all that. Wrote straight off. I didn't scribble it off on a scrap paper beforehand. This was it writing as soon as I had finished doing all that show-off type pieces. So, build quality, 8 out of 10. Writing experience. The ink, it flows nice. I do think that this pen, it suits more saturated inks. I have tried some paler inks in here, and again, it wrote nice, it wrote okay. It's just that, to me, the colour wasn't popping, whereas with this, I'm seeing a real nice popping colour. So maybe, a more saturated ink might be better with this type of pen. It's still quite enjoyable. I'd like to get...
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Poor Siri there, thought I was talking to her. I would like to be able to maybe swap a nib. I might try putting in a broader nib, but I'm not sure because it writes nicely. And at the end of the day, what matters? The pen writes. It lets me get ideas out of my head and onto paper. Ink flow, had no issues with hard starts or skipping. Let me just fetch in this. This is my 52 GSM Tomoe River paper. So here we've got PenBBS 308. Coat pens, deep dark green. You see on here, looks really nice, writes well. Not sure, maybe little teeny bits of shading in there, but maybe I'm just being hopeful. I do call out in here that, it's narrow, it's fine, but if I'm doing long writing sessions, my hand, especially my thumb pad here, does start to ache a little bit. See down here at the bottom as well, where we've done the wetness test, so as a combo, it does seem quite wet. So for ink flow, 8 out of 10. Comfort, I've called it out a number of times, does feel a bit thin. Lengthwise is fine. But if I'm doing long sessions, it can be a bit of a pain. I have to ding it for that. So for comfort, 7 out of 10. Value for money. It was 28 Aussie dollars when I bought it. The price has gone up since then. I'm not 100% certain what it is now. And depending where you buy it from, the price does vary quite a lot. It's a nice pen. As I've already said, does what I want. Lets me get ideas out of my head onto paper in a way that I enjoy. So it does everything I need. It checks all them boxes. 28 Aussie dollars, I think it's quite reasonable. It's a good value pen. It's a good working pen. So for value for money, I'm going to give that 8 out of 10. So that means that the total score for the PenBBS 308 in Mojito and Cult Pens Deep Dark Green is 7.83 out of 10. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. What are your thoughts on this PenBBS 308? Have you got one? Have you got any other PenBBS models? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart a conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.